All right, so we are now going to do the red positive slope diagonal win check. All right, so you should have completed the yellow negative slope diagonal win check, and now we're going to do the red positive slope line diagonal win check. Sweet. So it's similar, but you got to get the differences correct, and that's the tricky part. Again, we're going to start by writing nested loops to look at each row and column in the array, but this time we are going to restrict ourselves because we are going from here down this way, or from here down this way. You may already be able to see it. We are going to restrict ourselves from starting points of the top right. So how do we do that? All right, well, that's kind of tricky. So you're going to have to restrict or change one of the loops in a way that you're not totally used to. All right, first I'm just going to write the loops raw without trying to take that into account. So let's just start with a loop that looks at, or loops that look at each column in each row. So start there, write those two nested loops to iterate over every single row and column in the array. Pause, do that. Okay, I'm going to continue. So for int row equals 0, row is less than the length of the board, row plus plus, oops. Now we're going to write the column loop, column int col equals 0, col is less than the length of a row, col plus plus. Now we have to do some checking here again, so I'm going to do red count again, started at 0, and then I'm going to say if board at row col equals red count, we want to increment, and now we need to think through how we need to adjust these values such that we're looking at the correct pieces. Well, so if let's say we're going to start here. Well, we need to go down a row and back this way 1 column. So we're going to take away 1 column and add 1 row. Take away another column and add a row, take away another column and add a row. Okay, so we need to increase the row values and decrease the column values. So we're going to say row plus 1, row plus 2, and row plus 3. But we're going to say column minus 1, column minus 2, and column minus 3. And then at the end of all this, we're going to say if red count equals 4, if there are 4 reds in a row, we're going to flip the result value to true. We have found a diagonal win. But this is going to go immediately out of bounds because row and column values will start at 0. And so you can see it wasn't even able to do anything. Okay, -1. Why would that be going out of bounds to the negative direction this time? This is, I think, the first time we've encountered this. Well, it can't go negatively out of bounds if we're adding to it. So it must be something about the column loop that's creating this issue. Well, if we're starting at column 0 and we're immediately subtracting 1 from column 0, well, that's a problem because there's no index -1, -2, and -3. It never even gets to see these because the program crashes. So how do we change the loop to give ourselves room for 3 additional checks? Well, what if we start, instead of restricting ourselves at the end, we can change the starting value to 3. And now we'll start with a value of 3. This one will check column 2, column 1, and column 0. Well, that's the farthest over it can go, column 0. Perfect, we've restricted it correctly. Well, it should work now, right? Oh, bummer. Nope, didn't work. Why didn't it work? It says array out of bounds exception 6. All right, well, if it's in the positive direction, it has to involve one of these places where we're adding to the value of the index. And we notice that that's the row loop. Okay, well, if we look at this, if we're starting here and trying to check, we go, we start here, we go down one row and over one column, down one row and over one column, down one, row. All right, so we need to, in the direction of the rows, also give ourselves room. So here, we need to restrict the row loop that way to give ourselves room to do the counting. And now, this should actually work. And the computer may not be forgiving enough to let me show you that this will actually work. You can stop the video now and test it for yourself if you like. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Yes, it's going to let me do it. Ding! We got that direction. All right, winner, winner, chicken dinner. So we can also check the other direction of the winds, but I'm not convinced the computer is going to be cooperative here with its... Yeah, cut it out. Yes, it's going to let me do it. Ding! We got both the red winds. All right. So now your job is to complete this method for the positive slope red or yellow diagonal wind check. And this is diagonal. All right. So that's all the wind check methods. Way to go, us.